Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, and welcome back to Cannon Fodder, introducing and featuring Guna Matters. What a weekend we had! What a weekend! It was a good football weekend for many reasons and many obvious reasons. Obviously, City has gone 4 points ahead of Arsenal on Saturday, and we had to win at St. Mary's, not to chase City alone, but the fact is just to save face of what happened last season, bottling the top four, losing at St. James, and also at Spurs, and this is just to go there and have revenge on those matches. And I think the guys, the boys, everybody on the team was on point. Well, this is not an analysis of the game, just had to bring it in there. But before we go any further, gently hit the like, subscribe to Cannon Fodder and Guna Matters. Hit the notification bell so you can get all the notifications for when there is a live show or any video on both Cannon Fodder and Guna Matters. Now, hopefully I'm in time for the Monday afternoon show. This is a slot that I've committed myself to with Cannon Fodder. But yeah, I've got only one segment, and this is the part 3 of this segment. Everybody knows, obviously, what has happened in England or the Premier League, per se, and the officiating thereof. It is such a ball ache, if I may, to see the horrendous decisions being made by the English refereeing and the officiating thereof, introducing so much technology that could help them. But let's just go into it after this intro break. Welcome back to Cannon Fodder, Guna Matters. Now, sorry, I just lost the train of thought. The officiating in the Premier League is putrid, it's poor, it's pathetic. Now, the question is, why is officiating getting worse in the Premier League? With the introduction of technology, one would think that it would be better. And make no mistake, obviously some aspects of the VAR technology has improved a bit. But here's the thing, and I've read a few reports, and I did some research more, and it seems that it's going to beep. Yeah, officiating in the Premier League. It's so bad to think that the technology would have probably making it better, but it seems like it's going to beep. Yeah, look, I don't want to say the word of obvious reasons. And in every passing week, we feel that there is so many mistakes being made, decisions that has been made by the referees. And while the technology is only really doing one thing, and it shows that, and it's something that we already know about it, or in our minds at least, we already understand it, we already know that it just shows that English referees are not good enough. And to me that is very, 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 very sad. Fans have seen some horrendous refereeing decisions being made every week of the season. I mean, you can call upon so many, and I've gone in the past 3 videos about it. Obviously mentioned a few things. And these decisions, refereeing decisions, is just to convince them that English referees might just not know what they're doing. And the fans, they call out the referees, they call out the officiating, and it was said that the referees were all for the VAR technology to be introduced, because it might help them to officiate matches better, and just to obviously understand that they are exposed to the lack of knowing what they do. It is so pathetic that at the end of the day, VAR is still being operated by humans. So the human error is still a factor in the technology, and for the mere fact that some calls are being neglected by the on-field referee, knowing that there is somebody watching on top, and that tough decisions are being neglected by the referee on the day, and obviously with the thought and hope that VAR will assist him with the tough calls. We've seen it week in, week out in plenty games that has been played. I mean, this weekend alone, I mean, our game yesterday as well, there was a penalty given where you could blatantly see from the referee's view that the hand of Kivior was behind his knee or his thigh, and the referee blew for a penalty. And big ups to the VAR referee or assistant referee, had to tell him and say, look, go at the screen and look for yourself. And it turned out that obviously the game has changed because of it. Well, not because of it, but it was overruled and it was changed to no penalty. A yellow card was shown to Casemiro on Saturday, during the week, against Spurs. Was it against Spurs? Can't remember, but no, it was against Brighton in the midweek game. And then he made another foul. Any other day or any other time of that match, any player that made that foul would have gotten a yellow card, which is a yellow card offense. But again, the referee on the day showed no, it's just a foul. So Casemiro had to go. Anthony, that same match, he didn't get a foul, which I thought it was a 50-50. It could have been blown for any other day or any other referee or decision being made. And he retaliated by kicking the player, as it made look for kicking the ball, but it was blatantly a retaliation, which would have seen him a red card. But again, the same referee that didn't produce a second yellow to Casemiro, has only produced a yellow card to that player, Anthony. And also he had dissent on the referee. He's provided a dissent to the referee, and we all know if you do that, there's a yellow card in it. Again, he should have gotten a second yellow card. The same with Grealish in the Fulham game. Grealish and Tete, obviously, I think I spoke about this already before. You know what, it's such a a mission, and all these things come in your mind every time that you find that there is a bad decision being made on the day. So here's the thing, the question that remains is, VAR technology are still subject to human operations, obviously, and the interpretation thereof. And even the world knows that the English referees are not good referees, or rather for officiating mistakes. And because we obviously, this is the most watched Premier League in the world, is the Premier League, pardon me. So this should open the eyes of the English FA and of course Premier League to perhaps look elsewhere. And it says, in some reports it says that because the players, the coaches, staff, obviously managers and owners of clubs, and even it's gone down to some of the media members are foreigners, which brings the question, would it not be a good idea, or rather, wouldn't it be an idea to introduce foreign referees to come to the Premier League and officiate these matches that might see the improvement of the officiating on the day? That is maybe a thing that need to be looked at, because VAR again is not operating the way it should. And there's so many calls that are made on the pitch where VAR can step in because they are there with technology. There's so many screens. Have you seen what happens in a VAR studio? There's so many screens that can be looked at the various angles. Like yesterday, I've watched some of the halftime analysis with Ian Wright and Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer went off on Dermot Gallagher, but he's not convinced that it is a clear and obvious error for overriding the penalty call from where he was sitting. And there was a notion and a narrative to say that it should have stand the penalty. I don't know, obviously you can leave your thoughts and your analysis about that, but this is something that has been coming on for a long time, and since VAR has been introduced, there has been made mistakes. And yes, I mean, it's a good thing to have technology, but to have it operating to the best of its introduction, or for what its purpose to. So it has to be done properly, it has to be done correctly. And the people who operate the VAR studio need to be neutral. They need to be legitimate. They need to, for obvious reasons, have the technology worked for the game, not for personal gain perhaps. Which brings in a lot of questions, and I'm even scared to sort of mention some of those reasons why I say personal gain. I mean, there was talks last year that there was this. I mean, all of us know it. There is gambling being done on referees and the decisions they make, and on certain players they make those decisions with. So, who to say that the decision of a VAR assistant referee are not part of those gambling trades? So, you know, it's a big allegation, but it has to be said. It has to be brought to light if it is the truth. I mean, this is just speculation from my part, really. but it has to be taken out and brought into the light that it could be a reason for referees and VAR assistants to overlook certain calls, legitimate calls, red card situations, penalty situations, offsides, lines that forgotten to be drawn, and I mean the list is long, so you obviously could put in your own missing words and thoughts in there. Look, I'm not here to create a hype about the gambling sagas in the trades of refereeing and players getting yellow card on this game by that referee, and however they do it, the gambling and all that sort of thing. But you know what, it's interesting to understand that even in the World Cup of the Russian World Cup in 2018, of 99 officials, not one English referee. Not one English referee. In 2010, I think it was Howard Webb and Darren Can, Michael, I don't know, Malaki, that's in South Africa where the World Cup was here. Only 3 English representatives. Since I think 1938, none of the English referees were missing in certain. No, that I need to obviously let's just check again. Scrap that. That's not official. But even out of 36 officials in the last World Cup, there was 2 referees: Michael Oliver, Anthony Taylor, and one of them was sent back home after the quarterfinals. So that tells you a story when it comes to the English Premier League referees, officials. It is horrendous. It is poor. It's not just good enough. And teams are losing matches and possible tournaments or improvement and promotions and league titles and I mean, I look back at the official that in VAR, can't remember, Mason, I think, that has lost his job to forget to draw a line in the Brentford game against Arsenal at home, where they came and drew 1-1. That, if you look back at that game, we would have had 3 points in the points that we lost now in the last 4 matches. The 4 matches prior to Chelsea. If you look back at the first round Newcastle match at Emirates, where we had 3 or 4 VAR calls gone against us with blatant penalty shouts. Maybe here and there it's a soft one, but tackles, maybe possible red cards and that sort of thing. So if you look back at those things, then I'm a bit biased because it's Arsenal, but we were done in so many times this season with officials making the wrong decisions, and we lost points there. So I mean, there is a notion and a narrative, and I'm coming to a close, where it is such a poor official operations, and PGMOL have to really look at this. The Premier League have to come out and look at it. The fans that are seated in the boardrooms of clubs, they have to come out and really call out these type of things. That the referees must be subject to discipline and proper discipline about the officials and officiating of matches, because this is serious things that are overlooked. So it really begs me to ask the question: are these referees and officials really involved in this gambling trade when it comes to certain matches? Because it is just unmerited to make mistakes that big, huge mistakes. It's huge calls. And I'm very passionate about football. I love football. I'm first a football fan, and then I'm an Arsenal fan. So I watch football plenty, and I see mistakes being made a lot of times. I myself, in my growing days, playing football and also officiating matches, it's not like professional, but you understand the game, you understand the official, you understand the rules, you understand what to be done. But these guys getting paid for this. They are getting paid big money to obviously officiate matches. VAR has been introduced, technology, money has been spent on these things, and why is it not done properly? And I think there's so many things that we can say and talk about when it comes to technology, and so many things to introduce, and Arsene Wenger are looking at a lot of technology introductions, probably working or not, I don't know, but these things need to obviously come to light, and the referees must be disciplined, but still, again, it doesn't give us as fans and players to obviously abuse these referees for the decisions they made. They need to be disciplined from the banner they serve, which is the PGMOL, and of course the associations with the Premier League and the FAs and the clubs and all those things. So it must be done the correct way. The Premier League and the FA and these entities are quick to investigate clubs with the FFPs and all sorts of other stuff, and they charge players and managers and clubs for ganging up on officials, but they're not doing these investigations to the officials where they have made the wrong decision. So that needs to change, and I think it will only change when there's legitimate people calling on these things, people with the passion for the game, to obviously to have matches played with fairness. Decisions being made because of the rules not being subjective, the rules being plain and simple, and obviously laying out those rules and make decisions accordingly, but it has to be accountable. Somebody needs to take accountability for these actions. So yeah, this was a very interesting topic, and I think there's so many things to be talked about. Just a couple of stats. Like I said, in 2018 World Cup in Russia, not one English or British official was represented. In South Africa 2010 World Cup, 3 officials, Howard Webb, Darren Cann and Michael Malaki. In the last World Cup, only 2, Michael Oliver, Anthony Taylor. And also in the round of 16 of the European Champions League Elite, no English referee that presided over a match in the last 16, in the round of 16. So that should tell you a story about the English refereeing and official, British refereeing in English. So it is a sad thing. One of the most watched leagues in the world, they don't get any notice in the world of football when it comes to officiating matches. That's a sad thing. Anyway, gently touch the like, share the video, hit the notification bell for all notifications, and this has been Cannon Fodder featuring Guna Matters. Alex,